Speculation about Drake Maye's health runs rampant. It's times like these when we all have to breathe and think things through. This is Locked On Patriots.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening? I am your host, Nick Cattles, born and raised in New England, been covering the Pats for the past 16 years, also the co-host of the Greg Bedard Patriots podcast with Nick Cattles, and a sports radio veteran. Welcome to Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. On today's show, in the third segment, everything is setting up perfectly for the Pats Super Bowl Sunday. In the second segment, we'll take an early look at the Seattle Seahawks and why they're the toughest challenge the Pats will have all year. But first, Drake Maye's health has caused quite a stir online. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Lots of talk swirling about Drake Maye injuring his shoulder against the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game. Now, I want to stress, this is not a report. That's not where this initially came from. This is not a report from an NFL insider. As far as when I'm recording this, this is not an NFL insider coming out telling us that Drake Maye unequivocally hurt his shoulder, injured his shoulder against the Broncos. The report, quote unquote, as some people are calling it, is actually an opinion from ex-NFL doctor David Chao. Now, I will mention this at the top. Dr. David Chao has a sketchy history. There are some malpractice lawsuits. He was in the NFL for, I think, 17 plus years, but there have been plenty of complaints about the work that he has done. And there are questions about some of the work that he has done. But let's get to David Chao's opinion that he shared on a podcast. Drake Maye was injured on a scramble. Now, Dr. David Chao says it happened around the 4-minute mark of the third quarter when protection broke down. Drake Maye leaked out to his left. He was tackled as he landed on his right elbow and across his body. Now, Dr. David Chao says Drake Maye immediately grabbed at his right shoulder after the play before returning to the huddle. The following snap was a handoff, and Drake Maye was seen working out his shoulder between plays. Dr. Chao said the sequence of events strongly suggests a shoulder injury. Greg Bedard of Boston Sports Journal, he posted on Monday night that the information he has at the moment is that any Drake Maye quote-unquote injury to his throwing shoulder is not believed to be an issue. Mike Vrabel was on the Greg Hill Show on WEEI on Tuesday morning. Mike Reese transcribed the conversation. Question, is Drake Maye 100% healthy today as you get ready? Mike Vrabel, quote, there's not a player on our team that's 100% healthy, unquote. Follow-up question, is he healthy enough to play at a high level? Mike Vrabel, quote, I would imagine we will go through the injury report, and whenever we have to turn that in, we'll turn it in. But nobody is 100%. This will be our 21st game, unquote. Now, with the media later in the day, according to Phil Perry, Mike Vrabel says that reports of Drake Maye being banged up are, quote-unquote, probably overblown. But he acknowledges that no one is healthy this time of year, including Maye. Drake Maye went on the WEEI afternoon show. This was posted by Brian Hines of CLNS. Drake Maye on WEEI, if he expects to be limited at all over the next 2 weeks, quote, I think it's too early to say. Right now, feeling good and looking forward to getting out there and prepping for the Seahawks and prepping to get ready to go, unquote. Now, you can read that and certainly say, well, Drake Maye admits that it's too early to say whether or not he's going to be limited at all over the next couple of weeks. That leaves the door open to a possible injury. Now, in real time, watching the game, I did notice that Drake Maye was kind of working out his shoulder. I did not really think much of it. You see players all the time, trying to grab their shoulder pads, straighten them out, straighten the jersey out. You'll see somebody get hit and they'll get up and they'll shake it off. So, it did not stand out to me as anything unusual or some giant red flag. Would I be shocked if Drake Maye is dinged up? If he has some kind of injury? I would not be shocked. As Drake Maye and Mike Vrabel both said, you're talking about you've played 20 football games now. As Drake Maye said on the afternoon show, EEI, we're looking at 30 weeks of throwing the football and taking hits if you go all the way back to camp. So would it be crazy if he was dinged up? Would it be crazy if he tweaked something during that play? Of course not. The question is, if he is dinged up, how dinged up is he? And I look at a few things from the game that make me feel better about the situation, and I think should make you feel better about the situation. It's not a guarantee, but I will remind you that 2 plays later, after Drake Maye hit the ground, after handing the football off and kind of working on that shoulder, the very next play after that handoff was Maye's best throw of the game, which was the flea flicker, 31 yards to Mac Hollins, perfect touch, perfect throw in blizzard conditions. That was the very next pass he threw after he hit the ground. I also would remind everybody about the last offensive play of the game that mattered. The last offensive play of the game was a naked bootleg that we talked about ad nauseum on Tuesday's episode, where Drake Maye ran with the football, he stiff-armed a defender, and got out of bounds. Now, would the coaching staff give him that option? Would he give himself that option if there was truly a problem? If there was something significant, would he or the team put himself in harm's way on that final play when you did not absolutely have to get a first down? You could have easily handed the football off to Ramondre Stevenson, and if he was stopped, punt the football. Denver doesn't have any timeouts. It is what it is. The game is over if you can come up with the stop in blizzard conditions. So would you really have that type of play in mind at that moment with a very cold, snowy ground in case Drake Maye got hit and went to the ground again? Would you run that play if this was a significant injury? It's hard for me to believe that would be the case. I would also mention Drake Maye never went to the blue medical tent. Maye never went to the tent. Maye was never looked at from what we know. There were no reports from CBS from the sideline that Maye was getting looked at. So he did not go to the blue medical tent. He did not get looked at. He did not go to the locker room. There are photos of Maye coming off the team plane when they landed at TF Green in Rhode Island. And Drake Maye has he's got a bag slung over his shoulder. He's carrying his own luggage down the plane steps. So all of these things would tell me that it's not significant. If he is dinged up, it doesn't seem to be significant. From the pass he threw to Mac Hollins to the naked bootleg that they decided to run, to him not going to the tent, not getting looked at, not going to the locker room, carrying his own stuff off the plane, no sling, nothing. Now, Dr. David Chow also emphasizes the play calling to justify his opinion, which I find weird. Again, he certainly could be dinged. Maye could certainly be dinged up. But to look at the play calling and say, well, they ran the football a lot in the second half. They ran the football a lot, especially after that hit that Maye took. I would bring this up. Prior to that play where Maye hit the ground and started working on their shoulder, 10 of the prior 16 plays that were called were runs. So before the speculation, before this possible injury happened, the Patriots ran the ball 10 out of 16 plays. As a matter of fact, early in the third quarter, they came out of halftime running the football 6 straight times after a short pass to, I believe, Stephon Diggs. So they were running the football a lot well before this play ever happened. So pointing to the play calling makes 0.0 sense. And to this point, again, recording late on Tuesday afternoon, to this point, not a single reputable insider has said anything about some kind of significant injury. We'll see if it happens. But up to this point, there's been nothing out there outside of Dr. David Chow speculating on a podcast from what he saw on television. We start our Seahawks prep. It's coming up next. This is Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, it's Matt Derry from the Locked On Lions podcast. The people I love depend on me. If I'm gone, the financial responsibilities don't disappear. I didn't want my family figuring things out during the hardest moment of their lives. That's why I knew only one place to go. I chose life insurance through my friends at Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. I love the folks at Ethos. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get the free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. That is ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Application times and rates may vary.
There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. Pull up the Game Time app, pick an upcoming NBA game, and get your tickets locked in within minutes. You'll love seeing the all-in price up front, no surprise fees at checkout, and being able to see the view from your seat before buying will make the decision easy. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. We know some of you, likely most of you, are not fond of interruptions. Well, you can try the Everydayer Club. You can usually get the Everydayer Club for $5 a month or $50 for the year. But right now, until the Super Bowl, subscribers can use code SUPERBOWL to get 1 month free of the Everydayer Club. Go to LockedOnPatriots.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. And don't forget, as I say every episode, if you're watching on YouTube, click that thumbs up, give a brother a like, give a podcast a like. Always helps us with that algorithm. Don't forget to throw a comment in your thoughts on this injury speculation for Drake Maye. And don't forget to subscribe as we continue to march towards 9,000 subs, which is our next goal. Hopefully we hit that by the time we get to the Super Bowl. I'm going to need you. All right, speaking of the Super Bowl, as we know, Patriots set to face the Seahawks, and this is going to be the toughest challenge of the year. And, of course, we have said that before because as you get ready for the next game, if that next challenge is tougher than any other challenge you've had prior, it would make it the toughest challenge of the year. This is the final game. I just checked the calendar. It's official. The Super Bowl is the final game of the season. And the Seahawks are the toughest team the Patriots have had to face. They are the deserved NFC champions. They have been mostly fantastic all year. FanDuel right now says that the Seattle Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites in the Super Bowl. Now, let's give you a little bit of background on Seattle so you kind of know what to expect. We're going to dig very deep into this matchup. We have plenty of time to cover the Seahawks, to cover the Pats, to cover this football game. But I want to give you some general background. Let's start with the coaching. Very good coaching staff. Mike Macdonald, he is truly a terrific coach. And you could argue that he should win the coach of the year. If Mike Macdonald doesn't win coach of the year, it might go to Mike Vrabel. It could go to Liam Cohen. But Mike Macdonald is seen as, at least for 2025, one of the top 3 or 4 coaches this season. He is terrific. He is the defensive play caller. He will drive offenses crazy with a lot of things that they can do, which, we will get into as we break down this matchup. Then you look at the offensive coordinator, and, I would say no joke either on the offensive side of the football. Klint Kubiak is a legitimate offensive mind. He was with the New Orleans Saints last year. Of course, that coaching staff was canned. Klint Kubiak goes to Seattle in the offseason. He's very respected. He is very likely going to be named a head coach after the Super Bowl is done. We are very likely to see a report that Klint Kubiak is going to be the next head coach of X organization. He's very good, and he's pretty creative. Special teams, Jay Harbaugh, if that sounds familiar, yes. Jay Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh's son. He is the special teams coordinator. So when we look at the Patriots throughout this season, even against the Broncos this past weekend, I gave the Patriots the coaching nod. Now, I'm not saying I would pick the Seattle Seahawks staff over the Patriots staff, but I do think this thing is tight. And you could argue that for all intents and purposes, this is a wash. I thought going into the Chargers game was pretty much a wash in the wild card round. This coaching staff in Seattle is very good, very smart. They will have an extra week to prepare, just like the Patriots have the extra week to prepare. The roster. The Seahawks roster is loaded with talent. I mean, you go up and down. They have crushed the draft the past couple of years, especially in the top 2 or 3 rounds. They've been terrific at drafting young talent. The Seahawks have 6 Pro Bowl selections this year. They have 5 All-Pro players. Jaxon, Smith-Njigba. Keep that name top of mind. He is a first-team All-Pro at wide receiver. He is terrific from Ohio State. A great route runner. Can move around the line of scrimmage. JSN is no joke. And then you look at the second-team All-Pros for the Seahawks. Their punter, Michael Dixon. Hey, Bryce Behringer, you listening? Bryce, are you out there? Yeah, you better punt better than you did in the Super Bowl. Well, you better punt better in the Super Bowl than you did in the AFC Championship game. That's what he meant. You know what I meant. But Michael Dixon, punter for the Seahawks, second-team All-Pro. Leonard Williams, old friend in the division, second-team All-Pro. Of course, defensive lineman. Linebacker Ernest Jones, second-team All-Pro. And cornerback Devon Witherspoon, second-team All-Pro. So you're talking about a lot of talent. Devon Witherspoon, if you're wondering, Pro Football Focus had him rated as the number 1 cornerback in football overall this year. So Pro Football Focus will tell you Devon Witherspoon, best cornerback in football in 2025. Better than Patrick Surtain, better than Derek Stingley Jr., better than Christian Gonzalez. That's according to PFF. And that's not even all the talent. They have plenty of other talent on this roster. Left tackle Charles Cross is very good. Running back Kenneth Walker has been on a heater the last few weeks. Now, of course, this past weekend against the Rams, it was a little bit different of a story. He started pretty hot. He did not end hot, averaging just 3.3 yards a carry, but Kenneth Walker is a good football player. Nickelback, Nick Ebenwari is a rookie, and he has been terrific. So a lot of talent on this team. Strength of schedule, if you're wondering, since this has been a huge point of discussion in the national media, especially when you look at win percentage, Seattle did not have a very difficult schedule. They had a more difficult schedule than the Patriots. But when you look at win percentage, they're pretty much smack dab in the middle of the pack, 16th or 17th. The win percentage of their opponents under 500, it was at 498. So you could say 500 if you'd like. The Patriots, of course, 32nd in strength of schedule. Their opponent winning percentage, 391. And that was, the lowest in the league. And the Patriots are the only team in the NFL in the regular season who ended up with a strength of schedule when you look at the winning percentage of the opponents under 400. Now, you could argue and say, well, the Patriots beat the Chargers, they beat the Texans, they just beat the Broncos, so they beat 3 teams that were playoff teams with really, really good records. And, of course, the tit for tat, people would say they weren't healthy, blah, 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 but you get the point. Seattle had a tougher schedule than the Patriots, but they did not have an overly difficult schedule. But this is going to be a huge challenge, and I look forward to breaking it down as we move forward and get closer to the big game. We're only a couple of days removed from the AFC Championship game, but the media is already helping the Pats' quests for their next title. We'll explain coming up. This is Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, folks, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5. Again, just bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets if you win, if you're a new customer. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to help us out, help this community grow even larger as we get ready for the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. As I said last segment, FanDuel has the Patriots as 4.5-point underdogs, which means the Patriots are exactly where they want to be. They love the underdog role. Burt Breer had a quote from Milton Williams that followed the Broncos game. Here's what Milton Williams said, quote, we've been hearing about that Denver O-line all week. Nobody gave us a chance. Nobody believed in us. Everybody was talking about what we can and can't do. I want to hear something about that today. We're going back to the Super Bowl, and them boys are going home, unquote. Do you not think Milton Williams is going to hear all the noise over the next couple of weeks and say the same exact thing to himself and to his teammates heading into the Super Bowl? Nobody is giving us a chance. Nobody believes in us. Everybody's talking about what we can and can't do. When you look at ESPN, they're just jumping on the pile. The ESPN gut reaction predictions. All 11 analysts, pundits for ESPN picked the Seahawks to win the game. Field Yates, Seth Walder, Lindsey Theory, Ben Solak, Aaron Schatz, Jason Reed, Eric Moody, Dan Orlovsky, Dan Graziano, Matt Bowen, and Stefania Bell, 11 for 11, all picked the Seahawks. Milton Williams is saying, nobody gave us a chance. Nobody believed in us. Everybody talking about what we can and can't do. And beyond this story that came out early in the week about the gut reaction predictions, a bunch of other comments that you can find all over social media from Booger McFarland and Stephen A. Smith and more. The gist is the Patriots have no chance to win this football game. Mike Vrabel must be doing jumping jacks behind closed doors about this. He must absolutely freaking love this. Can we get a composite total of the picks through the postseason? I would love to get all of the picks from these TV analysts and these pundits. I would love to get every single pick that's been made on TV regarding the Patriots in this postseason and see how many of those picks were for the Pats versus how many of those picks were against the Pats. I would also love to see how many of those picks that were for the Pats were from former Patriots themselves, the Teddy Bruschies, the Randy Mosses. It just feels like every single week during this postseason, the majority of the media is telling you the Patriots have no chance. Now, this is different than yesteryear. This is different than the, they hate us because they ain't us stuff. This is dismissing this particular Patriots team as a serious contender, as a serious football team. Like, they've been questioned all year long from week 1 to the Super Bowl. And it shouldn't bother any of you. It doesn't bother me. I laugh at it. I find it entertaining. There's nothing better than shutting up a bunch of people by going out there and winning the whole darn thing. The fact is the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. The fact is they won both their playoff games to start by double digits. The fact is they went to Denver. They faced a scary defense. They did enough. They went against an offensive line. That was the best offensive line they faced all year. They dominated the matchup in the regular season when people were complaining and crying and moaning and kvetching about the strength of schedule. The Patriots marched right on through, beating a bunch of teams by double digits. They had one of the best point differentials in all of the NFL. Like, whatever. But I love this because it motivates the players. Look, Vrabel's message is going to be clear. It's the same message he has sent throughout this entire postseason. The football world is again doubting you. They have doubted you from day one. They doubted you against the Chargers. What happened? They doubted you against the Texans. What happened? They doubted you against the Broncos. Even though the Broncos had their backup quarterback, many doubted you that you could win that game in Denver. And here we are again on the precipice of a Super Bowl appearance, and they are doubting you. I don't even think Mike Vrabel has to work on this pregame speech. I don't even think he has to write anything down. He's got this puppy memorized. We all we got. We all we need. It's been the message this entire year, not doing anything at the trading deadline. We all we got. We all we need. Losing Milton Williams on the IR for several weeks. We all we got. We all we need. You get the point. That's been the message. It's been buried into the brains of each and every single solitary Patriot in that locker room. And here we are again. It's like the Bill Murray movie, Groundhog's Day. Here we are again. You're waking up. You're hearing Sonny and Cher. It's what this is. It's what this is. We all we got, we all we need is the perfect answer to all of this noise and all of these questions that the media continues to throw at this football team. Yes, it would be nice if they appreciated this story a little bit more. Yes, it would be nice if they were taken seriously more than they have been. But it really doesn't matter. And I also have the truth. Most TV people, they're not watching every game. They're not studying your football team consistently. I did national radio. Now, when I did national radio, I would try to watch half of the league before I went on the air. Every week, I'd try to watch 16 of the 32. Got a little bit easier with bye weeks, but I would watch the condensed versions of the games in the morning. I would watch a number of games on Sunday. But not everybody does that. Not many people will watch every single game. There are some. Kurt Warner will watch a ton of film. But most of these TV people, they don't study your team consistently. They don't even really know the strengths, the weaknesses. And they're very unlikely to evolve their opinions. They love, standing firm and getting, all of the pushback. They hate being wrong, but they'll deal with it. And really, they just say stuff half the time. It's 2026. And even if the Seahawks are a better football team, and even if you think the Seahawks would beat the Patriots most of the time these two teams played against each other, all that matters is the one day. We saw this play out in 2001 with the greatest show on turf. All you need is one game. And on that day, if the Patriots are better as a collective, none of this matters other than being able to relish in the fact that, again, you shut everybody up and you won yet another Super Bowl. This team is driven. This team is motivated, and they have been all season long to prove people wrong, to shut down the noise, to prove that they should be taken seriously. And now they have the ultimate opportunity to do it by winning the Super Bowl. So let them keep chirping, because the Patriots will continue to say, we all we got, we all we need. That wraps up this edition of Locked On Patriots. Thank you for making us your first listen, for being an everydayer. Reach out to me on Twitter at NickC Radio. Don't forget to throw a comment in on the YouTube channel. Hit that like button and subscribe. And if you're looking for a gift for someone, make it easy. Check out the Everyday Club. Ad-free episodes of this show, exclusive Discord server access, and more. And don't forget, until the Super Bowl, subscribers can use code Super Bowl to get 1 month free of the Everyday Club. Subscriptions can be gifted through LockedOnPatriots.supercast.com. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.